Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Manil Thomas. Coming up in the next 60 minutes. Israel-Hamas conflict continues. Israeli military expands its ground offensive in central and southern Gaza. Says will not stop until Hamas is completely annihilated. Maine becomes the second U.S. state after Colorado to bar Donald Trump from running for president in 2024 over his actions leading up to the U.S. Capitol riot in 2021. A tripartite peace accord between the pro-talks faction of the United Liberation Front of Assam and the Central and Assam government should be signed shortly. And countries across the globe witness extreme weather conditions, record low temperatures, heat waves, floods, bushfires witnessed. Israel's military has expanded its ground offensive in central and south Gaza, targeting terror group Hamas. The Israeli army released video footage and still photographs which showed ground operations and strikes on Hamas infrastructure in Gaza. Israel says it will not halt its ground campaign in Gaza until it destroys the Hamas movement, which controls the enclave. Egypt, meanwhile, confirmed on Thursday that it had put forward a framework proposal to end the conflict between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. Chairman of Egypt's State Information Service, in a statement, said that the framework, which includes 3 successive and linked stages ending with a ceasefire, was drafted after Egypt listened to the views of all parties concerned with it. The statement further reads, Egypt would give further details of the plan once those responses are received. Well, DD India's Trent Murray from Tel Aviv in Israel giving us the latest on the expanded ground offensive in central and south Gaza. How does one see this, expansion of ground offensive taking place currently?
Well, the IDF has said that it will be deploying additional troops, reinforcements effectively to carry out this increased operation within southern Gaza, a particular focus on the city of Khan Yunis. Now, from the IDF's part, they say they're doing that because they believe the Hamas leadership is hiding out there, particularly in that underground tunnel network, and they are trying to detect and destroy them. But one of the challenges is this is a very densely populated environment, even more so now because Khan Yunis and Rafah as well in the south are evacuation hubs where people have fled already from the north of Gaza, central Gaza, to get away from the fighting, trying to seek safety in the south, but it would now appear there really just is nowhere safe within the entire Gaza Strip, given this expansion of the IDF's operations. That's got the UN concerned and other aid agencies on the ground who are asking Israel for a humanitarian pause, but the IDF is showing no signs of backing down right now. We have seen more airstrikes overnight, including on Rafah. Palestinian media says 20 people were killed in a residential building, and fighting is continuing on the streets, heavy firefights between those Hamas fighters and IDF troops.
Okay. Let us also know about the situation on the border for Lebanon.
Yeah, look, a lot of focus on Gaza right now, understandably, but I think we really have to keep an eye on the Lebanese border because tensions there right now are boiling hot. A different group up there, Hezbollah, also linked to Iran. They have been firing a number of rockets over the Israeli border. The IDF has been responding with heavy airstrikes and artillery fire. In fact, yesterday we saw rocket sirens sound in Israel's third largest city, Haifa. That is quite uncommon for the rockets to make it that far south from Lebanon. Now, as you might imagine, that is garnering a pretty strong reaction from the Israeli government. Benny Gantz, the war cabinet minister here, has been speaking about the situation in Lebanon, saying the Lebanese government needs to rein Hezbollah in. He says if they don't do that, then he will get the IDF to do it for them.
Okay. Also, with regards to the Israel war cabinet meeting, that was supposed to discuss the post-war Gaza, has been a long time coming. How do you see this particular development?
Yeah, look, this is an important development as well, because last night here in Israel, the war cabinet was due to discuss the day after the war, as it's described, what happens to Gaza after this operation comes to an end. Now, we understand that that discussion was then postponed because some factions within Benjamin Netanyahu's government didn't want to discuss it right now. And in particular, this idea that the Palestinian Authority, which currently controls much of the West Bank, well, they would be put in place to replace Hamas effectively in running the Gaza Strip. Now, that idea is just a non-starter for large swathes of the Israeli government, and also what the Egyptians are saying, who are trying to negotiate a peace deal right now, is that it's unrealistic to remove Hamas entirely from Gaza. So look, the discussions are taking place, the negotiations are happening, but right now I just don't think we're any closer to either a ceasefire or plan to come up with what to do with Gaza after this conflict comes to an end. The number of civilians, though, do continue to die. 21,000 people, we're being told by the Hamas-run health ministry.
Okay, one final word, Trent. Egypt has now put forward a framework proposal to end this particular conflict. Do you see that, it's going to be acceptable, especially to all the parties who are in the midst of this armed conflict?
One can hope, I suppose. That would certainly be for, diplomats hoping there could be a resolution here, that there could be a breakthrough, but it's very difficult to see. We understand there is a three-part framework that's been put in place, effectively a 2-week ceasefire in order for hostages to be released, then a discussion about who governs Gaza after the conflict, and then thirdly, a complete end to the hostilities. Now, Hamas representatives have travelled to Cairo today to take part in the discussions. We don't have all of the details of the plan, but already some media in the Arab-speaking world is saying Hamas has rejected that plan. You'd also have to get Israel to sign on to it, which will be difficult given the divisions within the government here. I suppose going into 2024, one can be optimistic that at least the negotiations are taking place at Cairo, and also Doha is trying to find a path forward here. But right now, trying to get an agreement from all the different factions within Israel and Palestine seems very difficult. And so I think it will remain quite elusive to negotiate an entire humanitarian ceasefire for the people of Gaza.
Trent, we'll leave it there. Thank you. Appreciate you joining us this afternoon. The ongoing Israel-Hamas conflict has led to devastation in Israel, with homes and buildings being destroyed due to strikes by the Hamas terror group. To support in the reconstruction work, Israeli government is seeking help from India to send construction workers there. Northern Indian state of Uttar Pradesh's government has unveiled an opportunity that is offering an employment opportunity with a monthly wage of 1.37 lakh in Israel. The government has initiated an urgent call for construction workers to fill positions in building construction projects located in Israel.
भारत सरकार की ओर से नेशनल स्किल डेवलपमेंट कॉरपोरेशन ने जो इजराइल में युद्ध के कारण विनाश हुआ है उसकी स्थिति सुधार करने के लिए लोगों को जो 4 तरह के इसमें बेसिकली रोजगार वाले लोग जाने हैं, लोगों में काफ़ी उत्साह है, बड़ी मात्रा में लोग आ रहे हैं, आवेदन कर रहे हैं। लगभग अब तक 300 लोग करीब आके इस बारे में पूछताछ कर चुके हैं और लगभग 100 लोगों ने अपने डॉक्यूमेंट के साथ आवेदन भी जमा कर दिया है।
Well, updates on the blast near the Israeli embassy in India's New Delhi on Tuesday. The police has so far interrogated over 10 people in the case. The hunt for the accused accused had initially led police to as many as 12 people. However, any evidence of their involvement in the blast has not been yet specified. A man who boarded an auto rickshaw near Jamia Nagar metro station and couldn't speak Hindi properly is learned to be a suspect. Police officials said that the auto driver who dropped him near the embassy was also interrogated. The police are using facial recognition technology and are closely watching the CCTV footage installed nearby. Further details are awaited. Shifting focus to U.S. elections and another serious jolt to former U.S. President Donald Trump. Maine, the top election official, has barred Donald Trump won the state's primary election ballot, the second state to block the former president's bid for re-election based on claims that his efforts to remain in power after the 2020 election rendered him ineligible. The main decision building on the monument that Trump's critics have claimed after the Colorado ruling. Before Colorado, several other states rejected similar efforts. Meanwhile, the Colorado Republican Party has asked the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn the unprecedented state Supreme Court ruling that removed Donald Trump from Colorado's 2024 ballot. The appeal means that the state court's pause on the ruling, which was set to expire on Jan 4th, will be indefinitely extended until the U.S. Supreme Court announces whether it will take up the appeal, and if it does, until it issues a final decision in the matter. American presidential candidate Nikki Haley is on a damage limitation footing following comments she made about the country's civil war. The former ambassador to the United Nations, whose parents are from India, is campaigning in the state of New Hampshire in a bid to become the Republican Party's nominee for next year's election. But she faced criticism at an event there for refusing to say the war in the 1860s was a battle over slavery. She's since clarified that it was a cause. From the US, Benji Haya explains.
It's a row that's engulfed political discourse here this week. Asked what triggered the war that split America, Nikki Haley omitted the word slavery from her answer, a choice that, quote, astonished the voter who posed the question to her. Startled, she claimed the Civil War, during which her home state of South Carolina was the first to secede, was fought on freedom and the role of government. President Joe Biden, who she's trying to replace in the White House, said plainly it was about slavery. It is widely recognised that a principal cause of the war was a dispute over whether slavery should be permitted. As she aims to appeal to more moderate wings of the Republican Party base and also present herself as someone with convictions, Haley's wording of late could end up tainting her image. Now, following backlash, she did row back on her remarks on Thursday, admitting that slavery was indeed a factor. Yet the damage was done and seized upon by her political opponents at a crucial time in the campaign. You see, in the coming weeks, they'll face their first major test. The primary season kicks off to decide which candidate will take on Joe Biden for the Oval Office. Haley and other rivals in the race still trail former President Donald Trump by a wide margin. She and they cannot afford to make mistakes. In Washington, Benji Haya for DD India.
Well, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres delivered his New Year address in a pre-recorded speech. In his speech, the UN chief talked about the outgoing year and its shortcomings while evoking hope for the upcoming year.
2023 has been a year of enormous suffering, violence and climate chaos. Humanity is in pain. Our planet is in peril. 2023 is the hottest year on record. People are getting crushed by growing poverty and hunger. Wars are growing in number and ferocity, and trust is in short supply. But pointing fingers and pointing guns lead nowhere. Humanity is strongest when we stand together. 2024 must be a year for rebuilding trust and restoring hope. We must come together across divides for shared solutions, for climate action, for economic opportunity and a fairer global financial system that delivers for all. Together, we must stand up against the discrimination and hatred that are poisoning relations between countries and communities. And we must make sure new technologies, such as artificial intelligence, are a force for good. The United Nations will keep rallying the world for peace, sustainable development and human rights. Let us resolve to make 2024 a year of building trust and hope in all that we can accomplish together. I wish you a happy and peaceful new year.
Well, now let's move on to another story. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar interacted with the governor of St. Petersburg, Alexander Beglov, in Moscow on Thursday. During his meeting, Jaishankar extended support to promote economic cooperation and people-to-people exchanges between India and Russia. Earlier on Thursday, the External Affairs Minister also interacted with prominent Indologists in St. Petersburg State University. He appreciated the initiatives and ideas proposed by the Indologists to deepen cooperation between the two countries. During the roundtable discussions with Indologists, Dr. S. Jaishankar talked about the time-tested India-Russian relations.
This interest today is particularly pertinent, it's particularly important because in today's world, a country like India and one like Russia, we are constantly trying to refresh our relationship, to deepen it, to find new linkages and common points.
Well, taking to social media, India's External Affairs Minister shared a video of his visit to a school named after Rabindranath Tagore in St. Petersburg. Expressing happiness, the minister noted that Rabindranath's passion for India was truly touching.
प्लीज खाली जी ये तो हमारे क्या करना है इसका तोड़ना कुछ खाली घर बारी खुशी हुई बहुत अच्छा बोल रहे हैं तो नमक कुछ दरकर और खाली जी इस क्षण से अब तो हमारा अच्छा दोस्त
not votaries, we are lotuses. Listen.
Still to come on DD India News Hour. Russian and Ukrainian armies continue to exchange fire, with each claiming to have hit the other's military targets. Today is the last trading day of 2023. Sensex Nifty is set to end the year on a strong note. Shivers on. IMD issues red alert for dense fog in Delhi. Several trains and flights delayed.
As the year ends, we embark on an unforgettable ride through the core of the ever-changing global economy. In a world where markets fluctuate and economies evolve, the invisible hand shapes our reality. The Indian economy is an outlier. US and Britain get inflation in check, and China's property crisis compounds. This is one show you can't miss because it echoes 2023, these times on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Anil Thomas. The Russian and Ukrainian armies continue to exchange fire on Thursday. At least one person was killed and 8 others injured in Kharkiv and 7 others injured in capital Kyiv during the massive Russian missile attacks. Russia said its forces had repelled multiple attacks from Ukraine in directions of Kharkiv and Donetsk region, striking Ukrainian ammunition depots. Meanwhile, Ukraine claimed its air force carried out airstrikes on Russian air defense system and its rocket forces hit Russian ammunition depots and artillery systems. In a drone missile strike by Russian military that killed 2 people and at least 15 others were injured, the missile hit a residential building in the southern city of Odessa. A Panama-flagged bulk carrier has been hit by a Russian mine in the Black Sea, injuring 2 crew members. This is according to the Ukrainian officials who disclosed this on Thursday. The vessel, the Vaspos, was heading to the river Danube port to load grain. And according to Ukraine's Southern Military Command, the vessel lost course and control and a fire broke out on the upper deck. The incident that took place on Wednesday was the latest instance of a civilian vessel hit by an explosion in the Black Sea. Ukraine says Moscow has increased attack on Ukrainian port infrastructure since mid-July when it quit a UN broker deal that allowed the safe passage of Ukrainian grain shipments via the Black Sea. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Thursday that Ukraine's alternative Black Sea export corridor has sent out 12 million tons of cargo so far. In his video address on Thursday, Ukrainian President Zelensky said that the corridor had produced particularly significant results in the month of December.
The functioning of our export corridor in Black Sea, over 12 million tons of cargo have already been handled. The results in December are particularly remarkable, and this is felt at the level of our entire economy.
Ukraine and Hungary are preparing a meeting of former President Volodymyr Zelensky and Prime Minister Viktor Orban in the near future. The Ukrainian president's chief of staff has confirmed this on Thursday amid recent steps by Hungary that have sour ties. Earlier this month, all European Union states except Hungary agreed to start accession talks with Ukraine. The bloc's leaders bypassed Orban's opposition by getting him to leave the room when the decision was made. Chief of Staff Andrei Ermek made his remarks following a productive phone call with Hungarian Foreign Minister Peter Szijjártó. He added that Ukraine's progress on the path of European integrity was also discussed. Orban later confirmed he had accepted an invitation to meet Zelensky. A thick blanket of fog enveloped several parts of North India while cold weather conditions continue to prevail in the region. Very dense fog in isolated pockets of Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab, Haryana and western Rajasthan witnessed. Shallow to moderate fog was reported in Madhya Pradesh, Jharkhand, Odisha and Bihar. The Indian Meteorological Department, that's IMD, has predicted that dense to very dense fog conditions will remain across North Indian states for the next 2 days. A dense fog today engulfed parts of India's capital Delhi region, causing delays and cancellations of several trains. The fog conditions at the Indira Gandhi International Airport in Delhi, which improved significantly as the low visibility recorded was at 150 meters, while the runway visual range is in the range of 400 meters to 800 meters. The local weather agency has predicted the minimum temperatures to be in the region of 7 to 8 degrees Celsius over the next 5 days. A rare red warning for dense fog on Friday has been issued by the Weather Department. This is the highest level of alert seldom utilized. DD India's Taposh has the latest.
A thick layer of fog engulfed the national capital yet again on Friday morning, impacting the flights and train operations. As per the latest update by the Northern Railways, several trains, including the Rajdhani Express on Delhi-Howrah route, are running late. Many flights have also been delayed due to fog, which has resulted in low visibility in Delhi and surrounding areas. A red alert has been issued for dense fog in Delhi, Punjab and Haryana today, while an orange alert has been issued in these states for tomorrow. As per Indian Meteorological Department, it has predicted that dense to very dense fog conditions are very likely to continue in many parts of Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh, Delhi and some parts of Uttar Pradesh till the morning of December 30th and in some parts for subsequent 3 to 4 days. With camera person Naveen, this is Taposh Bhattacharya reporting for DD India from Delhi.
Well, as people around the world ring in the festive holiday season, the weather has taken a moody turn. Record low temperatures, heat waves, floods, bushfires. Countries from north to the south are witnessing extreme conditions.
Following weeks of record low sub-freezing temperatures, heavy fog and haze shrouded areas in China's Shanghai on Friday. The Central Meteorological Observatory issued its first red alert for fog since 2017. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, floods and landslides caused by torrential rain has killed at least 40 people. According to UN climate experts, extreme rainfall is becoming more intense and frequent in Africa due to warming temperatures. In the United States, California is hit by storms, triggering massive waves of 28 to 33 feet on its coast on Friday. Flooding has led to evacuation orders in several areas of Northern California. Meteorologists have warned that worse is yet to come. South America's Peru is also ravaged by floods following heavy rains in the northeastern region of Loreto. In Central Europe, Budapest is facing unprecedented December winter flood as the Danube breached its banks, reaching a decade high of 22.7 feet on Thursday. This has alarmed experts as they warn of more frequent flooding.
We have done a lot to ruin our environment, and we are still diligently doing it. All those many cars, the warming of the climate.
Australia is battling twin troubles. The country's north and west is bracing for intense heat wave, prompting authorities to raise bushfire risks, with several regions under total fire bans. Severe storms in the east has already left 10 people dead, and thunderstorms are expected to redevelop.
Still to come on DD India News Hour. Ayodhya being decked up ahead of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit. Celebrate winter in Kutch at the globally acclaimed Ran Utsav in Gujarat as it attracts tourists worldwide. Dubai transforms into a winter wonderland ahead of New Year celebrations.
Why are students around the world struggling with mental health issues? We tell you why on Connecting the Dots. Every Friday at 8 p.m. IST on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Anil Thomas. A quick recap of the headlines. Maine becomes the second U.S. state after Colorado to bar Donald Trump from running for president in 2024 over his actions leading up to the U.S. Capitol riot in 2021. Countries across the globe witness extreme weather conditions, record low temperatures, heat waves, floods, bushfires witnessed. A tripartite peace accord between the pro-talks faction of the United Liberation Front of Assam and the central and state governments to be signed shortly. Well, preparations are in full swing for the consecration ceremony of Lord Ram in the pilgrim city of Ayodhya in the Indian state of Uttar Pradesh. The city is leaving no stone unturned to welcome India's Prime Minister, who will inaugurate the airport and further propel the place to becoming an international tourist destination. Ravi Dhiman has the latest.
Ayodhya is getting ready for an important day, rather a phenomenal day when the city will get a much needed international airport and the city will get its rightful place in the pilgrimage map of India. The workers here in Ayodhya are braving the elements to deck the city and welcome Prime Minister Narendra Modi and thousands of others who are coming to Ayodhya to make it indeed a memorable day in the history of this city. The weather here in Ayodhya remains misty, cloudy, but the outlook for the city remains bright and sunny. With cameraman SP Dubey, this is Ravi Dhiman in Ayodhya for DD India.
With excitement soaring high, the workers and teams involved in beautifying the holy city of Ayodhya in the North Indian state of Uttar Pradesh have sped up their efforts to give the finishing touches ahead of the grand event. Here, a team of painters is busy finishing the side walls of the highway near the international airport to be inaugurated by Prime Minister Modi on Saturday. The paintings depict various incidents of Lord Ram's journey, mainly his return to Ayodhya after defeating Ravan, along with his family and friends on Pushpak Viman, which was specially sent for his journey by the king of gods, Indra. With the whole world awaiting in excitement for the grand consecration ceremony of the Ram temple in the pilgrim city of Ayodhya in the North Indian state of Uttar Pradesh, Gita Press Gorakhpur, a famous religious publication house, is readying 10,000 copies of the special edition Ayodhya Darshan to be gifted on the occasion along with the prasad to all guests and invitees. The edition will exhibit details about Lord Ram through colorful pictures. Devotees will get to know the spiritual importance of Ayodhya through the edition. Also, the 1972 Lord Ram special edition is revamped with more pictures to help a layman get better understanding of Ayodhya and Lord Ram. Indian Coast Guard on Thursday successfully evacuated an Indian passenger with heart ailment from the Italian flag cruiser liner. The passenger was evacuated approximately 80 nautical miles off the coast of Goa in the western Indian state. The Indian Coast Guard Maritime Rescue Sub-Coordination Center of the state launched a coordinated operation soon after receiving an alert seeking medical assistance for the passenger. The cruise liner was directed to alter its course and proceed towards Goa for quick transfer of the patient to land-based medical facilities. Aiming to bring a lasting peace in India's northeastern state of Assam, the centre and the state government are set to finally sign the long elusive peace accord with a major faction of one of the biggest separatist groups of the region, the United Liberation Front, that's the ULFA of Assam. The signing of the tripartite agreement with the pro-talks faction will be held in the presence of Home Minister Amit Shah and Assam Chief Minister Hemant Biswa Sarma. The move will partially bring down the curtains of the saga of militancy. As the second edition of the Kashi Tamil Sangamam is underway in the North Indian city of Varanasi, the 7th batch of Kashi Tamil Sangamam has arrived in the city. The main aim of the Kashi Tamil Sangamam is to bring the cultural traditions of North and South India closer, to enhance the understanding of the country's shared heritage, and to strengthen the relationship between the people of these regions. Cultural evening of the second edition of India's Kashi Tamil Sangamam witnessed a blend of colourful cultural program by the artists of Varanasi and Tamil Nadu at the Namo Ghat on Thursday. The folk dances of the remote villages of Tamil Nadu, India's southern state, were presented with great enthusiasm by the artists performing folk musical instruments. Prime Minister Modi's slogan, Vedakam Kashi, Har Har Mahadev, was also raised. The guests and audience were enthralled with the performance of the classical artists and musical recital via various instruments such as flutes, violin, guitar, tabla, and much more. The Indian government's outreach program, Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra, reached Bilaspur in the central Indian state of Chhattisgarh on Friday. Indian Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Singh Thakur participated in the event. He engaged with the villagers as they were given information about the schemes of the central government, and the beneficiaries shared their experiences.
ना केवल जानकारी बल्कि सुविधाएं, जो लोग वंचित रह गए थे वो अपने फॉर्म भी भर रहे हैं, चाहे आयुष्मान भारत हो, आवास योजना हो, आपका आधार कार्ड हो, ऐसी अनेक योजनाओं का लाभ विकसित भारत संकल्प यात्रा के माध्यम से मिल रहा है। ये पहली बार हुआ है कि देश के किसी प्रधानमंत्री ने देश के जनता के द्वार अपनी सरकार को ले जाने का काम किया, अपनी योजनाओं को ले जाने का काम किया।
The Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra also reached Fatehpur in the North Indian state of Uttar Pradesh. Minister of State Sadhvi Niranjan Jyoti distributed enrollment certificates to beneficiaries of several government schemes. The yatra was welcomed with tremendous enthusiasm and active participation from the local communities. According to the latest World Economic League table report by the Center for Economics and Business Research, India is on track to becoming the world's largest economic superpower by 2080, surpassing both China and the US. By 2032, India will overtake Japan and Germany as the world's third largest economy. By 2080, its GDP is projected to exceed China by 90% and the US by 30%. India's growth is fueled by key factors like political stability, large and youthful population, dynamic entrepreneurial sector, and increasing global economic integration. Well, Dubai transforms, or rather has transformed itself into a winter wonderland ahead of New Year celebrations. The city has once again embraced the holiday spirit with the revival of its captivating winter city at Expo City, Dubai from December 15th to January 7th. The winter city resonates with live music as visitors enjoy the festive tunes along with carols there in the open-air theatre. The entertainment lineup includes live shows, theatrical performances, catering to diverse taste and culture.
Just came here to see the dome and the winter city. They have created it in a beautiful manner. It's the right time to be here with Christmas, etc. coming in, and everything is done so beautifully. It's really wonderful. All that they do in Dubai is on a class level, and it's a beautiful city to live in.
Let's take a look at some other stories making news. Rehearsals for India's Republic Day parade is underway at New Delhi's Kartavya Path. The parade, held every year on the 26th of January, is the main attraction for the Republic Day celebrations. The celebrations include a traditional march past at Kartavya Path comprising a grand parade by the contingents of the armed forces and paramilitary forces. In India's Jammu and Kashmir, the government has introduced a new technology to grow vegetables in PVC pipes. Introduced by the Agriculture Department, hydroponic technology makes up for the space crunch, mostly in urban areas. The new technology is gaining popularity given the cost effectiveness and the effectiveness, along with chemical and pesticide-free veggies grown inside homes or apartments where there is no available land. An update on the COVID-19 situation in India. The active cases of corona have increased to 4,091, with 797 new cases of corona reported in the country in the last 24 hours. 5 people are reportedly dead, while the situation of with 2 deaths being reported from Kerala. A total of 145 cases of JN1 series variant have been reported till Thursday. The Ran Utsav, presently underway in the western Indian state of Gujarat's Gandhinagar, is attracting thousands of tourists, both nationally and internationally. The village-themed decoration is helping the tourists understand and get a feel of the rich history and culture of Kutch. The Kutch region, particularly the Ran Utsav, has generated global acclaim, rejuvenating the economy of the Kutch region. Asia-Pacific markets fell on the last trading day of 2023, with China stocks being the sole exception as the country's tech companies continued their advance. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index dipped 0.2%, while China's CSI 300 Index closed 0.49% higher at 3,431. Japan's Nikkei 225, which ended down 0.22% at 33,464, wrapped up the year with gains of over 28%, making it Asia's top performing markets. Sensex and Nifty trading lower in the last session of 2023 amid weak cues from global peers and selling in index heavyweights. Reliance, Infosys, bank stocks were among the top index drags. Broader markets, however, were trading in the green. Oil prices are set to end 2023 about 10% lower. This is the first annual decline in 2 years after geopolitical concerns, production cuts, and global measures have taken a toll. Brent crude futures were 0.2% up, while the US West Texas Intermediate crude futures were trading higher in early Asian trade. Both benchmarks are on track to close at the lowest year-end level since 2020. Prices surged to a year high due to production cuts by the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, that's OPEC, and their allies in September. Elon Musk's X on Thursday failed to block a California state law after U.S. District Judge William Shub dismissed the social media company's request. The judge in his decision said that the terms of service requirements of the law to be integral and said their presence could be a major deciding factor for users. That requires social media companies to publicly disclose how they moderate certain content on their platforms. X in September sued California to undo the content moderation law, which requires social media companies with a sizable gross annual revenue to issue semi-annual reports that describe their content moderation along with practices and provide data on the number of objectionable posts and how they were addressed. X objected, saying the law violated its free speech rights under the U.S. Constitutional First Amendment and California state constitution. Alphabet's Google has agreed to settle a major lawsuit which accused the Alphabet company of secretly monitoring the online activities of countless individuals. According to court documents, the search giant agreed to resolve claims that despite promises of privacy, it tracked the internal activity of users browsing in what they believed was an undercover mode. The lawsuit originally sought $5 billion in damages. However, U.S. District Judge Juan Gonzalez Rogers put a scheduled trial for the case on hold in California on Thursday after lawyers said they had reached a preliminary settlement. Let's take a look at some other stories making news around the world. Migrants continued to gather at the U.S. southern border with Mexico on Thursday as officials from both countries agreed to work together more closely to tackle the influx of migration at their shared border. Both the U.S. and Mexico have agreed to strengthen sponsorship initiative for Venezuelan, Cuban, Nicaraguan and Haitian migrants. The U.S. military secretive X-37B robot space plane lifted off atop a SpaceX Falcon Heavy rocket from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida on Thursday night. This marks its 7th mission after weeks of delays, potentially reaching higher orbits than ever before. Tony Chung, a prominent pro-democracy activist and former leader of Hong Kong's pro-independence group, Student Localism, has fled Hong Kong to seek political asylum in the UK. The 22-year-old activist was sentenced to prison in 2021 under the national security law imposed by China. A reimagined statue of French sculptor Auguste Rodin's famous thinker, called Thinkers of the Future, has been unveiled in Chile to answer questions through AI about the future. The statue has been made from metal stands at 3.2 meters tall and weighs about 250 kilograms. With New Year's Day just around the corner, thousands of volunteers gathered at Decorators Village in California to assist in decorating dozens of floats for the annual Rose Parade. Over 10,000 hours have been spent to prepare for the event involving delivery of millions of flowers. This year's Rose Parade theme is celebrating the world through music. Still to come on DD India News Hour. Australia edges out Pakistan in the Boxing Day Test match at the MCG. Our tribute to the Brazilian soccer legend Pelé on 1 year of his death anniversary. We'll bring you a recap of the year gone by in cricket in 2023.
Why are students around the world struggling with mental health issues? We tell you why on Connecting the Dots every Friday at 8 p.m. IST on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Anil Thomas. Time now to get you all the updates from the world of sports. India batting failed once again to live up to its billing as visitors lost the first test against South Africa by an innings and 32 runs in Centurion. South African bowlers ran through the Indian batting lineup in the second innings to claim victory, securing the win inside 3 days and ensuring that the proud home record against the tourists remain intact.
India's abysmal run on the overseas tour continues as South Africa bowlers run through the Indian batting lineup to claim a victory by an innings and 32 runs in the first test match at Centurion. The hosts bundled out visitors for modest 131 in their second innings after South Africa had scored 408 runs in their first innings, taking a lead of the 163 runs at Centurion. The exalted Indian batting lineup collapsed as debutant Nandre Berger took 4 wickets, Marco Jansen 3 and Kagiso Rabada 2. Only Virat Kohli provided some resistance with 76 runs. South Africa had begun the day with 11-run lead on 256 for 6, with Dean Elgar moving from 140 to 185. He and Marco Jansen put on 111-run partnership for the 6th wicket. Jansen was 84 not out, his highest test score. The test started with India losing wickets in heaps as Rabada and debutant Berger troubled them with their seam movement. The only fighter in the first innings was KL Rahul, who scored a magnificent 100 to help India get to 245 in the first innings. With only 2 tests being played, South Africa cannot lose the series and remain the only country where India have yet to win an away series. India has lost last 5 test matches in South Africa, England, New Zealand and Australia. There is some help for the Pacers. In 2023, India lost to South Africa by an innings and 32 runs and Australia by 209 runs. In 2022, India's performance was no better. They lost to England and South Africa by 7 wickets. Sports Desk, DD India.
Well, Indian pacer Avesh Khan has been added to the squad for the second test against South Africa as a replacement for Mohammad Shami, who remained unavailable due to an injury. Shami was ruled out of the second test, prompting the board to name Avesh as his replacement. Avesh was part of the Indian team that defeated South Africa in the 3-match ODI series, in which he took 6 wickets. The second test will be played at Newlands in Cape Town from Jan 3rd to 7th. South African captain Temba Bavuma has been ruled out of the New Year's test against India. He suffered a hamstring strain that kept him out of most of the Boxing Day test match. Den Elgar will lead South Africa in what will be his final test match. Talking about Boxing Day test, Australia continue their dominance as Pat Cummins' second 10-wicket haul in test has powered Australia to a thrilling 79-run win over Pakistan at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. The Australian captain made all the crucial breakthroughs late on Friday as the host bowled Pakistan out for 237 runs to win the Boxing Day test match. Cummins finished the match with figures of 10 for 97 after taking 5 for 49 in the second innings. Indian women succumbed to their 6th consecutive defeat and 8th in a row at home, despite recording their highest ever ODI total against Australia on Thursday. The second ODI will be played on Saturday at the same venue. Brazilian soccer legend Pelé, regarded as one of the all-time greats, passed away 1 year ago on December 29, 2022. He impressed fans with his agility, technique and love for the game. Pelé won 3 World Cup tournaments with Brazil and scored 1,283 goals in his professional career. Here's a tribute to the football legend on his death anniversary.
Pelé, one of the most iconic sportsmen in history, passed away 1 year ago on December 29, 2022 from cancer at the age of 82. He won 3 World Cup tournaments with Brazil and 10 league titles with Santos, his club team. He also won 1977 North American Soccer League Championship with the New York Cosmos. Having come out of retirement at 34, he spent 3 seasons with the Cosmos on a crusade to popularize soccer in the United States. In his 21-year career, Pelé scored 1,283 goals in 1,367 professional matches, including 77 goals for the Brazilian national team. Many of those goals became legendary, but Pelé's influence on the sport went well beyond scoring. He helped create and promote the beautiful game, a style that valued clever ball control, inventive pinpoint passing, and a voracious appetite for attacking. Pelé not only played it better than anyone, he also championed it around the world. Among his athletic assets was a remarkable center of gravity. Like other sports, soccer has evolved. Today, many of its stars can execute acrobatic shots or rapid-fire passing sequences. But in his day, Pelé's playmaking and scoring skills were stunning. After retiring from playing, Pelé became an ambassador for the sport, touring the global meeting Nelson Mandela, Bill Clinton and soccer legends including Diego Maradona, Johan Cruyff and Franz Beckenbauer.
Well, it was Australian year in cricket. They managed to win the World Test Championship. They managed to win the Cricket World Cup. But Netherlands, Afghanistan, Nepal all stole some headlines. But women's cricket was the fulcrum or the story of the year 2023. Let's take a look at all the events from cricket in the year gone by, 2023. Year 2023 can best be described as a tectonic year with radical changes for women's cricket in India. The year that started with the inaugural T20 World Cup in South Africa ended with 2 back-to-back tests, and the inaugural edition of Women's Premier League in India put women on the centre stage in world cricket. More audience per match, more eyeballs on the women's game, and more new faces followed. After that watershed moment, the bilateral series took over. In the Women's Ashes series, the one-off test saw the result after 8 years when Australia defeated England. The boards and other stakeholders are now understanding the value of standing behind the women's game. Moving to the men's world of cricket, India, high on that big win in the Asia Cup, won 10 matches on the trot in the World Cup they hosted, but were unable to make it count in the final that mattered most in the Narendra Modi Cricket Stadium. It started with the World Test Championship and World Cup final, Australia on both occasions getting the better of India in white and colour clothing. Pat Cummins leading the Aussies to victory from the brink of exit is the standout performance of the year. England failed to defend the World Cup but managed to salvage pride, bouncing back from 0-2 to 2-2 in the Ashes series. Asian neighbours Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh and Afghanistan played well in patches but were not consistent in the year. West Indies caused the biggest surprise by failing to qualify for the World Cup for the first time. New Zealand once again continued to shine, and though they failed to reach the final in the World Cup, the Kane Williamson-led team walk into 2024 with hope and faith to bounce back stronger. Cricketainment or IPL in India saw Chennai get the better of Gujarat in the final. MS Dhoni-led team got the better of Hardik Pandya-led team in the final for their 5th crown. The year 2024 has the T20 World Cup being played in the US and West Indies island. Cricket getting an Olympic debut has pushed uncharted territories open for the sport, and expanding horizons is just the right beginning for the gentleman's game. Well, on that note of optimism, that's all we have for you in this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, and also Instagram. We're going to be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I am Anil Thomas. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.